So at the beginning of the movie, it's a Fathom event, so it didn't have your regular rotation of trailers. Director Reese Frank Waterfield and producer Scott Chambers, who also plays Christopher Robin in this movie, they're just talking to the camera, talking about the plan going forward, talking about making these things. You really get the feeling these guys are living their childhood dream. Like, they're making the horror movies they've wanted to make since junior high, and bless them, I say they go forth, take over the world. That said, so Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is the sequel to the smash hit, technically speaking. The movie crushed in terms of profit, didn't cost much, made a huge profit. So now a sequel comes out, which I guess looks a lot better. I didn't see the first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey because I heard very plainly I shouldn't. I don't have to, and it is in fact that bad. I'm kind of at the phase of my life where I'm like, yeah, I don't feel I have to either. Kind of a bummer at this point that I don't have that perspective. That is one of the biggest compliments this movie gets, is that it looks so much better than the first movie. Premise is pretty simple. Winnie the Pooh, Owl, Tigger at a point at the very end. I mean, that was one of the biggest selling points. It's like, oh, Tigger's now entered public domain. So we're gonna have him in the sequel. Kind of near the end for one scene, but I digress. The three of them end up killing a lot of folk, which sounds like it expands the lore, because the premise of the first movie was, oh, Christopher Robin left, and now Winnie the Pooh and his friends have become very feral, and now they're killing people. This movie seems to go a different direction with that whole thing entirely. And when the movie starts out, you know you're gonna get that first kill or group of kills. I kind of felt like I knew what I was in for. Limbs get snapped, decapitations happen. Some of the wounds are inconsistent in terms of makeup. Then it feels like the movie's of two minds as to what it wants to be. Does it want to be a splatterfest, just a total gorno? Or does it want to take itself a little more seriously, which one of the more interesting concepts does come up in this movie. I guess light spoilers? Light. But it's hypothesized in the movie that maybe Christopher Robin's memories of Pooh and his friends are not what he remembers. It's not what we saw in those beloved animations. Maybe Winnie the Pooh and his friends have always been really messed up, murderous terrors, and his brain just kind of put rose-colored goggles over the memory to protect him. Which is kind of an awesome concept if it hammered that home, but anytime the movie wanted to take itself more seriously, it just ended up killing the momentum. More important than that, the kills just weren't that interesting. People get decapitated and limbs get ripped off and decapitated more. The kills just kind of felt boring. They felt unimaginative. It felt like Mortal Kombat Armageddon. You remember that one? Where they had every Mortal Kombat character from every game ever up to that point. So due to lack of imagination or lack of memory, it having so many characters, probably lack of memory, they were like, you get to create your own fatalities. How cool is that? Most of us saw through that marketing ploy bullshit and we were like, all right, so the fatalities in this game are lame. Generally speaking, the fatality ended with pulling the head off, breaking the neck, or cutting the head off. For most all the characters, it didn't feel imaginative and it just felt redundant. That's what this movie feels like. In this movie, just people, get dismembered, get decapitated. There's no sense that, oh, that's a Winnie the Pooh kill. There's no sense that, hey, that's a Tigger kill. All right, let's talk about Tigger for a second, since we're talking about lack of imagination. Tigger's dialogue sounds like the kind of dialogue that's meant to make people laugh who are too young to buy a ticket to the movie. I can tell they kind of wanted that evil, playful, hateful Freddy Krueger energy, but all he said was bitch. He's going after a girl. He's like, run, bitch. Not this time, bitch. Dance, bitch. You know me, I'm a lover of the fine art of using the curse word to accentuate the point. A lost art if ever there was one. But that shit just felt lazy. I always found Tigger to be a really energetic character in the Winnie the Pooh story. In this movie, why not give him that coked out monster energy? He'd be a total nightmare. Granted, there is a scene where he's clawing and slashing at someone, but he's just clawing and slashing. You can say it's more energetic, but it doesn't feel like Tigger. I mean, at least Owl does have this one scene where you hear someone vomit in someone's house and someone's walking through like, all right, who's in my house? You see a pile of vomit bones. I mean, it's gross, but it's owl specific. Owls vomit up the bones of the things that they ate. So it's like, like vomit human bones. It was like, oh, owl's here. I'm just saying, what's the point of having these fairy tale characters that you've turned into murderous monsters when they don't feel anything like their fairy tale counterparts? Pooh in this movie is Winnie the Pooh because I've been told he's Winnie the Pooh. There's nothing that really links him to Winnie the Pooh. Tigger is Tigger because I've been told he's Tigger. I mean, since they're dealing with the fact that Christopher Robin's memories might not actually be how we saw it, how he remembers it, and it could be much darker. Would have been kind of awesome if I left this movie with the sense that every honey jar I've ever seen Winnie the Pooh handle, lick, thrown down, or lop up was actually a severed head, not a honey jar. Just spitballing here, I'm just saying. Having a connection to the familiar fairy tale would go a long way. Like when you hear the director talking about where they're going with some of the other fairy tale movies, they got a Bambi one coming out and specifically a Pinocchio one. And they want to make Pinocchio like a Chucky movie, and at one point in the movie, I guess he's gonna wear someone's skin because he wants to be a real boy, which is really dark, but kind of awesome in the sense that that sounds like a messed up version of the fairy tale, because the essence of the fairy tale is there. Pinocchio wants to be a real boy. They're just twisting it into some dark version of a fairy tale. It's like he's Buffalo Bill in Geppetto's house or something. There's no such connection with the fairy tale element of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. They're just monsters that we've been told are Winnie the Pooh characters. Cuz. Run, bitch. The rave scene was actually pretty fun, though. There's a pretty solid kill in there. Is it a decapitation? Yes, but it's a decapitation and has fun with it. That's the point. It's a kill where I felt like Winnie the Pooh was actually having fun. Like he was enjoying a hobby, not clocking into work. There it is. A lot of the kills in this movie felt like monsters just clocking on like, ugh, gotta go to this job I hate. All right, sit tight, deep breath. I know, I'm bored too. Boring kills. That'll just kill a horror movie for me. Nightmare on Elm Street. We look forward to seeing how Freddy's gonna take someone out in a dream. Say what you want about Jason X. That liquid nitrogen kill is god tier kill among the horror genre, period. Whether it's the boring monsters, boring kills, boring humans, or the movie trying to take itself a little more seriously and expanding its lore that just came across as boring, it all comes out to be the kind of boring I'm not gonna remember in T-1 day. Yeah. Already forgot. Missed opportunity for a dog poo rating? Yes, but in the name of honesty. However, is it odd that I'm looking forward to seeing where this universe goes? What's it called? The Poohniverse. Right. There's a lot of potential in a horror franchise based off of twisted fairy tales. But I stress potential because that's kind of the point of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. It's like this movie is the very embodiment of the difference between potential and reality. When it comes to them making their Poohniverse, gentlemen, I wish you luck, kill it, crush it. That said, not a big fan of Blood and Honey 2. Alright, so Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And how did it compare to the first one, if you saw that? People say what they're gonna say, but guilty pleasures, they're a thing, they're fun, they're great to have, and that very well could be yours. So whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.